So let us listen to one of our students, one of our students from Myanmar, to introduce himself and do his presentation. Okay, go ahead.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to present about critical thinking and note-taking strategy. I am Duyata Wen from Siam University and I will be presenting now. These are the contents that I will be presenting about it. And we have the first of all, before I start talking, it is about enhancing critical thinking skills. I also have like reference and conclusion, but it should be all right. So first, enhancing critical thinking skill. We have three skills and method, or I should say strategies. We have Cornell Notes method, which a system of format that condensing and organizing notes. The second is mind mapping, where we have the visual presentation of information, and you have creativity and understanding. And the third thing is we have is like active listening, which is called the you have to fully engage in conversation, reply, response, and stuff like that. So the next thing would be the understanding critical thinking. What is critical thinking? I would say is ability to effectively analyze and synthesize information for for sound conclusion. It's just some conclusion. And the second thing about is questioning assumption. So when you are thinking and analyzing any topics or any sentences, then you have to, in your mind, that you have to think about, not think about, but you have to like analyze and then start to question why is it exist, or why is it, how do I say, this topic. Is the main thing is why. So the third thing is identifying base bias, which they recognize and assess their own bias before they start talking or they start questioning. The fourth is where we have making reasoned judgment. Uh, we are also we human have a brain, so I think we also like educated individuals. So I think it's supposed to do some reasonable judgment, not like denying everything, but like as both accepting and denying, but with reasonable arguments. So the fifth is like importance in problem solving. In problem solving, we have both academic and real life jobs, companies, and stuff like that. So understanding critical thinking is like is also important in role of decision making. When you let's say an example of when you are in a meeting, and then everybody has its own point of talking, and after that you have to gather all those points and analyze it, and you make a certain determined decision that you can change after that, you know. So the next thing as I talk about is the Cornell note-taking system. So where does it come from? It starts with in Cornell University. That to is for their research. To is for helping students to take an effective notes. The second in the Cornell note-taking system is they have a structure and organize how to take notes. Is the next topic that I'm talking about. And the third thing is that that system promotes active reflection. When you have taken notes, when you have organized in taking notes, not like messy notes or stuff like that, just a simple note. When you review, revise, it take a reflection on the lecturer materials that when you have taken notes. So it's very easy to review the information when you study it. So the thing here is the structure of Cornell notes. Structure. We will have a title, which is obvious. We must have some note sections. on here, on there, and the Q questions of after the lecture, what questions you will ask. After that, you at your home or at the university or at the library, you may have summary of your answers and your notes that during your class. And the benefits, let's say like the benefits of taking cornell notes is when you have enhanced organization. Yes, that is true that when you know how to take notes and then your notes has become organized. So the second thing about is the key concept identification. I mean, lecturers are going to talk just, they will teach everything have, but in something, I mean, in during the lectures, they will have some key points that you will have to do it. Otherwise, you will not remember what the key points are. And the third thing is where it's like active engagement. When you understand the lectures and when you read everything about it, then you can ask or you can just engage or you can talk to your lecturers about I mean, how do I say, arguments or compare and contrast or everything, just talk about it. So it's like you are being so active. An easy review after after the lecture class, when you have to review it, you don't need to read all those materials, just read your notes. And if you don't understand some of the notes, you search it, that you can find the key points in it and you know where to read in the material. So understanding mind mapping concepts. What is mind mapping? It's a visual note-taking technique that organize concept and their interconnection. The second thing is that the structure of mind maps. As you can see in the photo, we have a middle is a central area, which is maybe a topic. It will be in the center, and then we have branches spreading out like collaboration, productivity, creativity, benefits, and planning. So it is going to have those, if you can do those mapping, not like exactly, but some of it, then you already have benefits about it. So what are key benefits? The key benefits are they enhance creativity and brainstorming. We always heard in modern day that brainstorming sessions and talk about it after that they only give you a bit of time, but for your brainstorm. And the second thing is that improve memory retention. That is true when it comes to a longer period, when you have taken like 6 months or years something, but it's still kept in your brain, or when you have think about it, it immediately have an idea. And the third thing is facilitate quick revision. Just like the Cornell notes-taking system, this mind mapping also have a quick benefits of quick revision. The fourth thing is it provides holistic view. It's like when you have a micro perspective from above, and you see in your mind, you see your mind mappings about a certain topic, and then you're seeing like overall in one picture. So to understand active listening, this is the third one. So what is active listening? It's fully concentrated. You understand what the lecturer is talking about. You respond to the lecturer. You might say you question or you have a question. And the fourth thing is what you remember after the class. So the second thing about understanding active listening is importance of eye contact. You have to eye contact while you speak. you present or while you do everything. I mean, even in the meetings, even in classrooms, you have to eye contact. And the third thing is we have verbal affirmations. Affirmations, I mean, like I see, I understand. Okay, so this is like when the lecturer or other person explain it to you. It's like a response. So we have like enhancing note taking through active listening. How to enhance? Well, if you have like general knowledge, I mean, first class will not have enhancing because this is the first time that you were taught and you are not familiar with the topic, then it will not be like improved. But after the class and for like next week or the next day at the class, that when the lecturer talking about it, then you read the lecture material so that you can have deeper engagement. The second thing is that during your listening and after class, you read all those notes and review all those materials, then you can have identifying key points. Or during the class, if possible, that they can identify key points because lecturer just talk about it. The third thing we have accurate note taking, because note taking not only you write, you have to listen. Yeah, since listening and then writing, so like we have two minds. They're doing the same work at the same time. You take notes, you listen to what the lecturer said. The fourth thing is like improving information retention. It's where when a lecturer asks you a question or something like that, you can respond immediately because you have memory retention. And I have like although I didn't wrote it in my slides, but since they have active listening, there is a question that do we have active speaking? So active speaking is only my summary of generalized since it's not related to the topic. But I would say that active speaking is where you are teaching or you are talking or you are presenting that you have to talk clearly, you have to how do I say, pause somewhere, or so that other person can understand. So for active listening to do effectively, that an individual also needs active speaking, even if he or she have, I mean, still weakness in speaking and stuff like that, because some are third or second or third language, or even fourth. So let's continue. Combining note-taking strategy. Well, since all these three strategies will combine, first we have to integrate everything for improved retention and understanding. Second, implementing corner notes for lectures. Implementing corner note for lectures. During the lectures, you can take notes. So after taking notes, you can have mind maps for your understanding. You can write it down like boxing method or branch method, anything. But it's mind mapping is for brainstorming. And the fourth one, enhance active listening skills. It's for capturing key information. During your taking notes, you can take notes with active listening for key points. And for fifth, combining everything. If you combine everything, then you will have better results. Not possible for everything, but small stuff and stuff like that. But don't mess that. But you can combine it. So we have the real-world application of techniques. During during classrooms, or during the meetings, during professional environments, you can map or you can box, both, or you can do both as you like. And then for your personal development, it's where after all those class happening, you have to review yourself that where am I improved or where am I lacking or my weakness. And we have like creative projects, have a lot of projects actually, both academic and companies and stuff like that. We have like creative projects for assignments and stuff like that. But it's all right. Before conclusion, all three systems may have like each of them have weaknesses, because if you see the Cornell taking notes, you can take notes, because I also have that weakness. During my taking notes, I cannot enhance the active listening because I was focusing on one thing, but I cannot focus on another. There is also a mind mapping. So in the mind mapping, that I can do it the three things at the same time. So I'm also trying to figure out these three weaknesses, because focusing, I can only focus on one thing, not the second or the third at the same time. So there's still a lot of weakness. For conclusion, it's like integrating everything, every strategy may have academic success. They also foster growth, problem solving, and decision making in various life areas. These are my references for all of these three. So, any questions, everybody?
Can you come for it because actually it's wonderful. Okay, so before then, you will start all over again. Let's go through the thing you presented. Let's start from the beginning. Okay. So now I'll have to go through them. And you can see there, you can be the other side, I'll be this side. On the other side, just stay the other side and stay this side. Okay, so let's go through gradually because this is a very important topic. It's a topic that we must look into to avoid missing the information. So sorry. Is it okay? So you can stand over there. Okay. Then the content of the presentation, as you know, he started with, first of all, enhancing critical thinking skills. Then, understanding critical thinking, the Cornell note-taking system, structure of Cornell notes, benefits of Cornell notes-taking system, understanding mind mapping concepts, creating an effective mind map, key benefits of mind mapping techniques, understanding active listening, enhancing note-taking through active listening, combining note-taking strategies, real-world applications of techniques, and then conclusion. First of all, this is a very nice presentation in my own view. Why? Because he has content. He tried to let us know what he's going to do and what he's going to say. Is that okay? Okay, now let's move on. Then enhancing critical thinking skills. He said, Cornell method, a systemic format for condensing and organizing notes, improving retention. That is to say that before you want to study, you have to have a paper. That's just like a rough paper in which you jot down what you are intending to avoid forgetting. Are you there? Mind mapping, visual representation of information, fostering creativity and understanding. Almost the same way, the same thing, just like outlining, session. Active listening, engaging fully in the conversation to enhance comprehension and retention, which means when you are listening to somebody, you pay attention. You cannot be listening. Some people, it's not possible that you can be listening at the same time chatting on your Facebook, on Instagram, or a lecturer is lecturing and you're doing something else. That's what he's saying. That there is need for active listening. So when you are here to learn about study skill, one of the skills is what he's saying here. Remember, mind mapping, stretch, outlining, jotting down, because our mind, you may forget. And at the same time, if it has to do with just as I'm talking to you now, or he is talking to you now, pay attention and not being distracted. Are you there? Yes. Okay, I hope I am representing you very well. Okay, sir. Then he said understanding critical thinking. What did he say there? Definition of critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to effectively analyze and synthesize information for sound conclusions. Critical. Effectively. He said, he used the word effectively. Analyze and bring all the information together, all the knowledge you have together. Don't just judge because of one side. Maybe two persons are having issues. You have to listen to this side, listen to that side before you say anything. Are you there? Okay. Then he mention of identifying biases. Critical thinking recognizes and assesses their own biases and those present in other arguments. That is to say that, let's say myself and another person is having problem. Maybe you have known me for a particular reasons or things. So it's possible that whatever I say, your knowledge of me, you may be able to use it to identify where I have acted in a biased way. So in the critical thinking, one of the things you have to do to shake, remove the falsehood and then try to gather what is the truth. Are you there?
Yes.
So you have to identify, even you yourself, even me, because we're human, sometimes we're biased. We may even decide to cite someone from Myanmar against someone from Thailand, or Thailand against someone from Myanmar, and then support a Thai person. You see that? But critical thinking doesn't encourage that. You should stand by this, listen to the issue, do not listen to race, do not listen to nationality, do not listen to whether it's a gender, male or female. Look at the issue. Are you there? So that's what he's telling us today. Identifying biases. The importance of problem solving. Essential for effective problem solving in various situations, including academic and professional content. Because if you understand to solve a problem, you first of all use critical mindset, then identify whether there's a bias or not. How can you solve a problem when you don't even know the problem, when you don't even know the origin of the problem, when you are even in your mind already one-sided? Are you there? So look at this point, say, questioning assumption. It involves questioning existing beliefs and assumptions rather than accepting them at a face value. Yeah, because Dr. Emmanuel said, therefore, oh, come on, you have to investigate. You have to think critical. Yes, there is God. You have to think, why there is God, for goodness sake? They say God is all powerful, God is all omnipotent, and God has everything. Then I need money. Where is my money? God, please, can you send me the money? And God didn't send you money. So some people might begin to question the belief. So assumption, questioning assumption, what somebody has said, you have to critically ask questions about it. Even in our culture, different culture, we have different culture, and then we have different way of life, and then we have different kind of belief system. So your own is not the same with mine, and we're in a global world. So there is the need to question the assumption, not just to believe because it is said. Then again, making reasoned judgment. It entails making decisions based on logical reasoning and evidence rather than emotions. Not because it's from your feeling. No, you have to think. Not because, he's crying. He doesn't have money. how do you know that he or she does not have money? Maybe somebody gave him money or gave her money and he didn't use it very well. Maybe he has done something so bad to humanity and he's suffering from it or she's suffering from it. So you cannot just come into a situation only with feeling. Think. Role in decision making. Critical thinking is in making informed decisions by evaluating different perspectives and outcomes. That's what I say. Critical thinking will help you to identify bias. It will help you to solve a problem. It will help you to even think beyond what is being presented to you. In fact, making reasoned judgment will help you to look at alternatives. There are other things, possibilities. Somebody told you a story. There may be a possibility that he's lying. There may be a possibility that he or she is not lying, but he or she does not understand the game, does not understand the environment. And then you'll be able to make a decision. Are you the guys getting the point? Okay. Reserve your question for Professor Dunya because I have to ask him a question. He said, not Colonel, not the Colonel note taking system. Colonel note taking system. Say origins at the university. Of course, this is a system was developed at Cornell University to help students structure their notes effectively. This is just from a university standard. Structure note organization. He is trying to say that this method divides the page into three distinct sections: keys, notes, and summary for a better organization. Just like what we just said. You get a note. Yeah, you have a note, and you have to put them in order. So just to know what you want, ask questions, answers, and reasons, and stuff like that. Then again, you make mention of promote active reflection. By encouraging review and reflection on lecture material, it enhances understanding and retention of information. Yes, remember what we did in psychology before. 3R. Do you still remember that? 3Q, Q3R. Question. Huh? Uh-huh. Correct. What, do you still remember what that means? Mm. Well, very good. Survey, question, review, recite, recheck. Very good. Thank you very much. SQ3R. Survey. You have this is a book, and you have to just survey and then question. Ask question. Who wrote it? Why did he write it? And then what happened? What is the environment? You see? Survey, first of all, and then ask questions, and then 3R, meaning read, review, recite, or read, recite, review. You have to read first of all, you have to review again, and you have to check whether you can even remember what you have read. Okay, are you there? Okay. So now, structure of Cornell notes. Look at how you put it here. You see that? The title, the Q questions in your mind, the main notes, key thoughts, what you are having, then the summary. All these things are just enable you. Remember what I said from the beginning of the class. Put down, jot down something. Okay, the benefits. Why is it important? First of all, Cornell notes taking system promotes better organization of notes, making them easier to navigate and reference. Just to help and enable you to understand something. It will help you to identify the problems, identify the issues. It makes you to be actively engaged in the topic of the discussion. Facilitate easy review and self-testing, allowing learners. Imagine that there is an exam, you will be able to answer it because you were actually documenting things the way it should be. By doing what? You were able to know the topic. What actually is the topic? What actually is the issue? Then what are the questions that are very important? And then what are the main ideas and the issue or the argument? Are you there?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So now, understanding mind mapping, just like a station, putting things together. Say, a visual note taking technique that uses that diagram to organize concepts and their interconnections. You know what that means? Mind mapping. Maybe you want to talk about CM University. So you started to put which these are students. This is a U year, and this is 2 year, and this is Grace. Uh-huh. Then you put it like that because it will enable you to talk about them when you come back. Then you come here, and then this is kind of the garden in the Sayam University. This is the light. You see, so mind mapping, what you say, visual note taking, using this kind of a thing to remember what you want to talk about in your mind so that you will not forget. And using diagram to organize concepts and their interconnections. Because we are talking about, you are writing an essay about Siam University, right? So you don't just start writing essay. You have to mind map, put certain things together. It might be in a picture so that when you start writing, it might be perfect. Or even after writing, you might still create this kind of a thing and submit to the teacher. Just like structuring what you have answered. So, structure of the mind mapping. Central idea is position at the center, with branches of extending to related topics. This is the CM University. This is IBBA. This is hotel and tourism. This is admission center. This is registration center. Something like that. It helps a lot. That's the point. That's what I told you before when we started this class, that you have to learn whenever you see anything, any write-up, jot down first. Think, don't rush. Okay, benefit of mind mapping. What is the main benefit? It enhances creativity and brainstorming. Improves memory retention. You can't forget easily. Facilitates with revision. When you want to go back again, you will remember because you have a map already. That this is Siam University, that is IBBA. Who is in charge of IBBA? Dominga. And then this is hotel and tourism. Who is in charge of hotel and tourism? Concord. Very, very, it will enable you to, at any time you want to revise anything, very simple, and provides holistic view. It will enable you to understand everything about Siam University. Are you getting the point? So understanding active listening. Active listening is all about fully concentrating, understanding, responding, and remembering what is said. Just as I'm talking to you now with Professor Tunya, you are actively listening without doing anything else. Remember, there is an eye contact. Shows engagement and encourages the speaker to share more. You might be, maybe so a speaker is talking, and the way you are showing, looking at the board tells the speaker that you are listening, and it might encourage the person to move on. How about verbal affirmation? Using verbal affirmation, I see or I understand, reassures the speaker that you are attentive, even though people can pretend, even when they are not listening. After all, somebody might be here and be, maybe if you have not paid your rent, you are thinking about your rent while you are here, or maybe somebody is going to lock your door in your room. You may be thinking about it. Or maybe somebody may have found trouble with you, and then you may be thinking about it. That is human nature. But the point is that this is not just a guide to enable us to move forward. So enhancing note taking through active listening. So if you are listening actively, it will enable you to deeper engagement with what is being discussed. You'll be into it. Identifying the key points, it will enable you to understand the main point we are talking today. Accurate note taking, improve information retention. These are what you have said before in a different way. Okay, combining note taking strategy, according to this presenter, improve various note taking methods, implement kernel notes for lectures, use mind mapping for brainstorming, enhance active listening skills, and combine techniques for better results. That is the combining note-taking strategy. Note-taking strategy is that in every class you enter, don't just go to the class empty. You should go with something. Because if you don't, you may forget. Are you guys there?
Yes.
That's the essence of what that we're saying. Study scale. What is study scale? Always jot down. Don't trust your brain too much because by the time you leave the class, you forget. But if you jot something down, it's there with you. Real world application of techniques. Of course, we use it in academic setting, we use it in professional environment, we use it in personal development and creative projects because you might graduate and might get job and you'll be asked, okay, what can you do? Then what will you tell? So if you are taking notes, even when you finish university, you might go back to your note and find out that there are areas that you need to do. There are certain things you did in the school you might use in your workplace. So that's why it says real life application. Even in the family, even in your marriage, if you have a very good understanding of study skills, like you're saying, it might be used in your married life, it might be used in your work life, it might be used in your personal life, professional life, even in your academic life, if you continue to study further. Are you there? So now, Professor, it's now time to ask you questions. You did very well, giving conclusions and references, because we are not here to be the Mr. All Knowledge. No one. So everything we do, we get it from somewhere. That is why it's very important to always put reference. Okay, this is time for your question. Kafunka,
3.
Okay, can you go back to your first slide?
Third slide.
first slide.
Slide.
That one.
So you mentioned about ordinals, might have been and so do you think it's important or necessary to implement all three?
Okay, ask it.
Okay, so you mentioned about notating scope, method, on note method, might have been and right? Do
Yep.
you think it's important to implement all three? On
Well, it depends on an individual because if you are focused on one thing, because when I heard that everybody has to focus on one thing, but here is that we have 3 things. So how can we? Is it possible? Maybe. Is it not possible? Still maybe, because how can I say? As I mentioned, my weakness that I can only focus on one thing, because when when I taking notes, I tend to forget what the lecturer talk about. He talk about it, and when I'm doing mind mapping, I can't take notes because I already forgot what he said afterwards. So like I have this trying to figure it out. So another person may have like can use all these 3 things, but not every strategy, but a little.
so you mentioned about still trying to figure out like
Yep.
so I've been looking for like a year. How you think so I think you should focus on taking key points of of course edit is important by your business you tend to write everything every note in writing down, right?
Yeah.
Instead of writing everything down, I think focus on key points. You tend to miss what the speaker is saying when you are writing everything. I think as is, so I think you should be taking only one food. I think it's much better.
Wow. Wow, this is a very honest contribution from a sincere friend. So what I understand from what you say is that because he has been your friend, and one of the reasons that he thinks you are having the challenges you are mentioning is because you tend to try to write everything in terms of jotting notes. So he's suggesting that the best way is to put the bullet point, just to get the point, jot the point down. So that you'll be once you jot the point down, you'll be connecting with the speaker. You'll still remember what the lecturer is saying. You still remember what the person is saying because you're not writing the entire thing. You're just jotting down just a word, something else. So that when you get back home, you'll be able to repeat, just try to revise and then go back and then you can get some. But you also answered very correctly. All this is depends on individual. Some people they can easily get something, jot down and stay listen. While some people once they jot down, they forget the other part of it. So you got it actually. Depends on the individual. It's an individual is kind of. Okay, any other question? Sure.
So I just think anyone else.
Huh? Can you repeat that again?
Do you think that anyone outside the world has some weaknesses, or do you think that there's any weaknesses not for you, just for you, for everyone?
Do you think other people they have weakness also in taking notes?
Everybody has weakness actually. So I would say that using your weakness as your advantages in taking notes, then I think it will cover some of your weakness, but not all, because you're using your weakness to take an advantage. But in the other, for everyone in the whole world, but I think it, how do I say, it has, they can utilize their own perspective and their own methods actually. I mean, I just only talk about the words that I searched it on the research, but there are a lot of ways that you can use your weakness.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, another one from you. Is professor against professor.
So you mentioned about reviewing notes, right?
Yep.
So in terms of, let's say, in our university, right? Do you think reviewing almost like the lecturer might be nowadays important?
Preview
Reviewing the lecturer almost.
for next day. It's kind of important because when lecturers like talk about a chapter, I mean, if for example, if a lecturer talk one chapter this week and next chapter for next week, but I mean, the reference and the books trying to say is like it always related to the previous one, so it's a good thing to revise the lecture that you finish for next week, so that when he or she mentioned, when the lecturer mentioned a word that you remember, you can have an active discussion. Yes, so it's important.
Wonderful. Actually, oh my God. It was off all this while. Why didn't you see it?
I think it was flashing before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay, when I check. Okay, so that is a very wonderful observation and very wonderful question. Is it possible? I mean, is it a good thing to review what the lecturer has said and then focusing on the next class? Yeah, bearing in mind that in the next class that you are going to meet the same lecturer. Is that what you mean, right? And I think you answered it perfectly. Any serious student should always read before coming to the class, or read the topic that the lecturer will teach in that very class, which he has not taught before. That is the perfect way of learning. You know, when all of us are here sitting comfortably, it doesn't mean that we are all in a better shape when we finish classroom. You know, when we finish, we get a degree. You begin to see whether you deceived yourself or not. Because it's very important to start on time to learn. You paid for a course. The reason you paid is to learn something. Sometimes you see some of us, even lecturers, are very easy. We try to find easy way by making it simple and then close the class ahead of time. But the problem is that who is losing? After this degree, you now go to work. Then you understand that maybe you really made a lot of mistakes by not paying attention. So thank you for that question. Yeah. Any other question from any other? Hey, May, right? May.
Before I'm used to practice like memorizing the fast word, like before exam night. I memorize like this paragraph include 5 paragraphs. So I take note like first paragraph or first one word mean ROSES like the roses. This is my phrase. Roses. The R stand for I create in exam. I create like one paragraph, and as goes to the second paragraph, and this is my like note taking system. I think. Do you have any upgrade idea for note taking system? I think if I remember RO and S I forgot, I'm just forget, and
things
I'm
up.
just I can't record the whole paragraph. So do you have any upgrade idea for the note taking system?
That is a new one. That is a new one. So, like, if you look at the existing system of note taking, and you are like taking notes that before night. So, first of all, calm down. Secondly, how do I say? You first, how do I say? Scan the paragraph. I mean, the whole paragraph. I mean, if you scan the first paragraph, just scan the first paragraph. Don't read it like that. Just scan it, and when you see a main point, you take you highlight it. Yes, not. I mean, now they're not highlighting the whole sentence, but highlight 2 or 3 words. After that, you bring a paper and pen to write it down. And then after you write it down, you only scan for it, but you only see your notes, but do not messed up, like not panic, something like that. No, you wrote those key points that you highlighted it. After that, you start to analyze what these key points are and what type of question and stuff like that. You search it on Google. You can search it, I think. And then after all these things happen, and of course, since you don't have time to read the whole material, then summarize it. Summarize what you find. Summarize what your question is. I think I base it on the existing system. So I'm not saying that it's improvement. I'm just saying it's just based on the existing system.
I already did this, and after that I may update when I'm memorizing the short letter. What you said about I already did. And after that, for my like update version is memorizing one paragraph or one word, and later now I'm using system like like memorizing with the example in my daily life like
That's a good
for
one.
example, if I like for the SQ3 method, so SQ3 method is really useful for the study, but as for the exam method, and I use and I apply in my professional way. So that is I remember with the together with the example. So that's
Example
the update.
method.
Yeah.
A new way. That is a new way.
And apart from the yeah.
I also had a comment on your note taking. So I think we're all from Myanmar, right?
So I think we're very used to
We
memorizing
have a
things
Chinese?
and memorizing and repeating like parrot learning. So I think it's more important to like not memorize, but you try to understand the topic more than memorize. Because of course, back home we have to like write certain word in certain way in exactly how it is written in textbook, right? So we're very used to repeating the exact words and even sometimes grammar, sentence formation.
Paste.
But in our real life and in our colleges and university, the lecturer doesn't not like doesn't care, but they don't mind the different wording or different perspective view. So it's also depends on your own personal view instead of what is written or what is taught in the class. So I think it's more important to understand the topic or the thing that you're gonna write about rather than memorizing like ROSES. I think it's more important to just analyze in your own way because I believe and I hope most lecturer will give marks to that because some lecturer they're very strict to following certain words. But of course, it might differ from lecturer to lecturer. But in some cases, yeah, of course, you might have some keywords to follow. But in explaining things, you don't need to follow every exact things that it is taught that you're taught in class. I think that's the updated, improve. I hope.
You are perfect. You are actually correct.
And I-
Because but one of the problems is because most lecturers they are lecturers, they are not teachers.
Yeah.
Let me use the word. Yeah. Because under normal circumstances, just as you presented critical thinking means that the lecturer said something, you must not follow exactly the way he said. You can explain it in your own words, in your own understanding. You can put idea. That is what education is all about. And not just to copy from whatever lecturer said, verbatim, and then put in. You know, we all grew up with that kind of mindset, maybe British kind of educational system, where we, just like you, we are also like that in our country, Nigeria, because we always like to cram, we call it cram. Just, you can even take all the book in your head, but you never knew nothing except that those things that you want to produce in the exam in the same way, and you pass the exam, and yet you didn't even learn anything. So you're very, very correct. So that is the okay. You wanted to say something.
Yes. When he said about like we have like memorizing everything like that, it's very obvious in definition. But when I search in every three strategy of definitions, and there are a lot of definitions that use a lot of words, but they have only the same meaning. So like you can use every word even in a definition, but it has to be same meaning. So like you don't have to pressure yourself like memorizing the exact word like this.
Yeah, and you know, before you reach that level, you must have studied a lot. You must have internalized the main topic. This is wonderful. And I'm very happy that all of you are getting it because that is study skill. That is what we'll be discussing in this class all the time. And after this class, don't forget, read it on your own too. Because this study skill methodology is something that is very, very important. Because once you don't get it, you have missed it. And by the time most of you are graduating by next semester or this semester, then you get the paper, call it a degree, but you got nothing. Do you have any other question? Nay or nine? Nay. Ah, you are around today. How is life treating you?
Just COVID.
Oh,
COVID.
okay. So it's okay. Let us see and then know what you have done, what you missed. Two sweet, right?
Me.
Oh, this is
Me.
mint.
Me.
May. Okay. Any question? No. Grace, any question? Okay, so thank you very much. So we are very happy that we are able to listen to this our intelligent and smart student who told us something about critical thinking. Critical thinking, and from his own perspective, critical thinking is all about looking at issues objectively, looking at things objectively, attending to things objectively. at the same time thinking about the alternative, at the same time knowing how to solve problem in a society. And how would you solve the problem in a society? You will solve the problem in a society when you think critical and handle things without bias. Listen to this side and listen to that side so that you come up with a sound judgment. Is that not what he said? Okay, so thank you very much, Professor Tunya. And I believe that we have all gotten something extraordinarily serious and extraordinarily very important in our life from your presentation. So thank you very much.